Okay, let's talk a little bit about Git, GitHub, version control, all of this stuff, and why you should care. So version control software, of which Git is one of the most popular examples, is software that allows you to constantly track any changes that are made to a data set or to code, kind of anything that you can type into a computer. That means that you can track for an analysis exactly how you got a given answer, no matter what. And you know who made the changes that gave you a given answer. That's very, very valuable for important decision making, for very large software projects, and for academic publication in my own world as well. So we're going to be using Git in this course for a lot of our projects. We've already done one quick Git clone to get some data. But here in this video, you're going to create your own Git repository using the dataset, the phenomenally complicated dataset that we created just a second ago, this example CSV. So first and foremost, you'll need to go to github.com. Now, GitHub is something that is built on top of Git. So there are different ways to use Git, but we're going to be using GitHub because it really is one of the easiest mechanisms to use version control. So go ahead and create an account. Now that will take you a few minutes. You do have to validate your email, but it is completely free. Definitely create a free account to do this. And once you've created an account, go ahead and sign in. And what you'll see a page, obviously not quite as many things as mine, but you'll see a page that looks something like this. And you'll want to click up here at the upper right-hand corner. There's this plus sign. You'll want to click on that plus, and then you'll want to click on New Repository. So here you'll want the owner to be you, whatever your username or name was. And let's call this repository name something we'll remember. So in this one case, we'll do Intro Data Science. That's it. We don't need a description. And then you can leave this as public as well. There's no reason to create private repositories for this, and you do have to pay for private repositories. Don't initialize the repository with a README. There's no reason to do that. And then we'll go ahead and click Create Repository. And what you see here, this is a completely empty repository. There's no code, there's no data within this repository. Now, what we're going to have to keep our eyes on here is this. So where it has this URL, https://github.com/danmerfola/introdatascience.git. I need to save this, so I'm going to highlight it, and I'm going to hit Control-C on my keyboard. So I'm going to copy that. You can also right-click and click Copy, either way. So now we actually want to get Git to talk to Python. So I'm going to go back to Jupyter Hub. So back at Jupyter Hub, I've gone ahead and logged in. You should have something that looks very, very similar to this. So you should have your data, you should have the lab. You may not have lab 2, you may have lab 1, but that's fine. But you should have your example csv.csv. This is what we uploaded a little while ago. What we're going to do is we're going to initialize our Git repository. And so that way, anything that we create from this moment forward is going to be able to sync with Git. So this will look a little scary, but I promise it's not. So I'm going to click on New, and then Terminal. And oh my gosh, look how terrifying this is. Terminal is just another way to access all of this information. So Terminal lets you get into the same types of things that I'm clicking on here, just using text instead. So if you type in ls as an example, just ls and then hit enter, you can see data example CSV and lab 2 data and processing, the same things that I'm looking at here. So what I can do here, though, is I can use Git to pull and push and initialize my repositories on this Jupyter. So all I have to do in this case is I'm going to type in Git clone, and then I'm going to right click, I'm going to click paste. Right, so now I've pasted in that URL that I got from right here. And this was after I created my new repository. Now I'll go ahead and enter. And of course, nothing will happen, right? So I've now cloned an empty repository. Congratulations to me. If I type in ls now, you'll see there's now a new folder, Intro Data Science. Here, again, the same thing. Now I have a new folder, Intro Data Science. The reason this folder is called Intro Data Science is because I named my Git repository Intro Data Science. And so anything that goes into this folder is going to be able to sync with this Git repository. So if I click on this, obviously, it's empty right now. In here, if I type in cd for change directory, space, intro, data science, and I hit enter, and then I type in ls, again, of course, there's nothing there, right? There's nothing that we've created. So I'm going to go ahead and hop over to Jupyter. And again, if we go from our home directory into this folder, intro data science, click in there, and I'm going to click on new Python 3. And here I'm going to go ahead and name this first Git. So this will be my first Git file. If I look back here, again, here's my file, firstgit.ipy. And in this file, I'm going to write, kind of whatever I want. In this case, I'll go ahead and write, hello GitHub. And I put a little comment before this. You don't have to do this. It really doesn't matter at all what you write here. Just go ahead and put down something, and then go ahead and save. So save and checkpoint. And then what we'll do is I'm going to go back to this screen, and let's have an ls again. Okay, let's cd into our intro data science folder. So I typed in cd, again, that stands for change directory. It's the exact same thing as going into here and clicking on this button. I'm going to do the same thing here. So cd intro data science and type in ls. Okay, and now I can see that first Git that I just created. Now I actually want to sync this with GitHub. So in this folder, and it's very important that you've cd'd into this folder, I'm going to go ahead and type in a few things. The first thing is git add -a period. And what this means is it tells Git in this folder, add all of the files that match anything. So any file that is in this folder will get added to Git. Then I'm going to type in git commit -m, and then in quotes, my message. So this message will be a test message, and we'll talk more about what this means in a second. Importantly, though, when I hit enter here this first time, I will get an error. It's going to tell me that I haven't configured Git yet. So when I hit enter, you'll see this. It basically Git says, I don't know who you are, who is trying to commit, do you have rights to do it, all of that type of stuff we just don't have the answer to. So what I'm going to do is we'll go ahead, and you'll have to do the exact same thing, is I'm going to type in git config two minuses global user.email, and then so all of that will be exactly the same for you. And then in quotes, I'm going to put the email I used to register for GitHub. So in this case, it's dan@danrunfola.com. And so I'm going to hit enter. It won't tell me anything. Same thing for the next line. So git config global user.name. And my name, again, on GitHub is Dan Runfola, no space. So all of that in quotes, exactly like that. And now I'm going to try the same git commit again. So I'm going to push up on my keyboard. That's a nice shortcut to where you don't have to type things again. So I pushed up 3 times, and when I did that, it brought back up the git commit m test. So I'm going to go ahead and hit enter on that. And now we see that we've actually had the commit go through, right? So there's no longer an error. So now I'm ready to actually push this to GitHub. So I'm going to type in git push. It will ask me for my username, so I'm going to type that in. You can also use your email and then your password. Now note when you're typing in your password on terminal like this, it doesn't show up. So I just typed in my password, but you can't see anything. Now we'll take just a moment to actually sync. And just like that. So now we have finished our sync to GitHub, and you should now have your Git repository. So this is Git. So if I go to the URL, github.com/danrunfola, my username, intro data science, you would replace, of course, my username with your own. When we go here, you'll see something that looks like this. So this is the first Git IPython notebook that I saved to the GitHub. So it's basically, it's on the cloud, so to speak. So this is now well backed up, and we have version control enabled as well. Now, right now, we can't do much with this. So just as a test, we're going to add a CSV, the CSV we created in the previous lab, up onto GitHub. So I'm going to go back to Jupyter, and this is my example CSV. Go ahead and click on this, and if you'll recall, the example CSV is very, very simple. Student, height, grade, all of my student names, their heights, and the hypothetical grade that they received, right? There's not much real data here. So what we want to do is we will actually want to add that into our intro to data science folder. So I'm going to check in the Jupyter Hub. I'm going to check beside this.
and I'm going to click Move. I'm going to move it to Intro Data Science. Intro Data Science. Go ahead and click Move. And now in my Intro Data Science folder, I now have that CSV. So now what I want to do is actually sync that with Git. So at the upper right-hand corner here again, I'm going to click on New, and then Terminal. So I'm back in this beautiful terminal. I'm going to type in ls again to see where I am. So I need to do cd intro data science. So again, I'm changing my directory into the intro data science directory. And type in ls again. And now I can see all of these different files. If I want to, inside of a terminal like this, let's say I want to take a quick look at example CSV, I can type in nano example CSV. And it brings up a little tiny text editor. Control X is what lets you exit, so Control and X on my keyboard. But what I really want to do here is do the Git. So I'm going to first add the new files to my Git repository. So git add -a dot, and again, this will add everything in the folder, but all we have is that CSV. I'm going to git commit -m adding a CSV. So I'm putting in the message that that's what I'm doing. And then I'm going to git push. My username as before, and my password. Okay, now let's go check over on GitHub. I'm going to have to refresh the web page, so I'm going to click refresh. And voila, now we have this example CSV. You'll also see here now, in this column, the most recent time that anything was updated, which commit it was. So the first git.ipy, when I did this adding a CSV commit, I probably inadvertently edited this before I did it. And so that's why it shows up here, is this is when it happened. So if I click on adding a CSV, it'll actually show you how things were changed as well. So you can see example CSV was created, and we added these 4 lines, which is exactly what we wanted to do. We can also, in GitHub, look at these CSV files. It has a built-in way to quickly look in kind of a nice way at what is contained within a CSV. So you'll remember when we downloaded data in the first lab from the website, from the GitHub website, we kind of did a git clone, and when we did our git clone, we just got a big data folder. We basically could do the same thing here. You could give this URL to someone else, the github.com/danrunfulla/intro data science, tell them to do a git pull, and when they did that, or a git clone, and when they did a git clone, they would automatically get this, just like we had done before. So that's GitHub with data. From here, what we're actually going to do is the last thing, the last example of how to get data is going to be going in and using a PDF. So how do you actually extract data from within a PDF document?